Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Reactor, and this is Quinn, and today's article comes from NBCNews.com and says, veterans haven't received GI Bill benefits for months due to ongoing IT issues at the VA. This is, to be kind, a train wreck, said Rep. Bill Rowe, R. Tennessee, the chairman of the House Committee on Veteran Affairs. I used to use the GI Bill. I still have like 1 month left. I took, 35 months of college, and I'm a couple credits short of an associate's degree, which says a lot. I hate school. I kind of wasted my time. Well, no, I didn't. I enjoyed it. I went because the government was going to pay for it, and I don't need school. I don't feel like I need a teacher to teach me stuff because I can learn anything I want on the internet. And
the problem is a teacher starts talking about something, and then you want to learn more about the thing that they just stopped talking about, but they keep talking about something else.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it does help for certain things.
It does.
You know, like, of course, art. You know, I took art classes, and I loved those because I actually didn't know I was good at art. Well, I mean,
Right.
I guess I knew I was good at art. I didn't know I was good at painting and drawing because I've always done digital kind of art stuff, like,
Right.
you know, like photography, Photoshop stuff. And but having a guy who's been doing drawing and art his whole life specifically was awesome. Being able to ask him questions and stuff like that. So college is good in that sense, but yeah, I'm kind of deviating. But I never had issues, and I'm glad I'm not going to school right now because I can't imagine when I was in school if they didn't pay for the school while I was going to it, and I had to pay for it myself until they reimbursed me or something, which I imagine is what's going on.
Right.
Well,
School's expensive.
I bet the schools are also being lenient. So I would imagine, because the schools work with the VA, they make so much money off of veterans that are using their GI Bills. You know, it's almost like free money for them. And the schools I went to gave me priority, usually, because I was a veteran. So, yeah, that was pretty good. Let's see what this is specifically talking about, though. Shelley Roundtree departed the U.S. Army in 2013 after seeing friends and fellow soldiers die in combat during his tour in Afghanistan. He was committed to transitioning to civilian life, and one of his first steps was to enroll in college with tuition and housing benefits he'd earned under the GI Bill. Roundtree, 29, began studying marketing at Berkeley College in Midtown Manhattan. He dreamed of working in the fashion industry, and he's close to graduating, but now there's a serious obstacle. He got out in 2013. You get 3 years of your GI Bill. So I feel like in 2016 he probably should have ran out unless he was taking a year off in between, maybe. But that is a little weird to me. The Department of Veterans Affairs is suffering from a series of information technology glitches that has caused GI Bill benefit payments covering education and housing to be delayed, or in the case of Roundtree, never be delivered. So I want to explain the education and housing. The GI Bill pays you a stipend for housing, for living. It's like an allowance, and it's usually about from $1,000 to $2,000 a month to your personal bank account.
Right.
And then they give the other money for the classes directly to the school, and you never see that money. So I'm sure. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you. So this is after you've served, though.
Yes,
So if a person is new that's going into the armed services, right now, what's their best? What's the best thing that person can do to have the best after boot camp when they're going on base? What's the best option for them to live the best way they can, in your opinion, as a new recruit?
Get married.
Get married?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
The military wants people to get married and have babies.
Okay,
You know, and they pay you.
I could see that.
They pay you an extra $1,500 a month to your on top of your pay. So when I was in, a private was paid like just in basic training would get $2,000 a month or so. No, it was $1,500 a month. But if you were married, you'd be making $3,000 a month. You know?
So there's
and you don't have to live in a barracks.
Right.
You get to rent a house with the extra $1,500 they give you. That's what it's for. It's to rent a house. A lot of people would roommate with their friends, so they would be splitting the rent and just pocketing a lot of that money.
Smart.
Yeah, I did that.
So basically, you're saying if you're new, you find a way to get married. That sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people get married just simply because it benefits them so much. Living in the barracks is hell, because I remember my squad leader would call me up at 5 a.m. I have work at 6:30. He'd be like, "Are you up? I'm gonna inspect your room." And he would go and wipe the top of my doorways. Dude, I don't dust the top of my doorways. I mopped my floor, you know. But then he would yell at me or tell me, "Oh, what's this? There's dust on your ceiling." Dude, it's my ceiling. I don't walk there. You know, I can barely reach it. But that it just sucks. You're living in hell. I had to share. I had my room, and then there was a common area with a bathroom and a tiny kitchen hallway type thing, and then there was my roommate's room. And my roommate, I didn't even know him. I tried to introduce myself, and he slammed the door on me. Like my first day, I was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm your roommate across the hall," and he was like, "Yeah, whatever," and he closed the door on me. I was like, "All right, this sucks."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
and then he never got inspected by his chain of command, so I always had to like scrub the toilet, his mess off the toilet, because I would get in trouble. I actually figured out a way to get around it though. What I started doing was when my squad leader was coming up to inspect my room,
You'd leave a trail of junk to his door.
no,
right?
no, I would turn the shower on and close the door and be like, "Oh, sorry, Sergeant. I guess he's in the shower," and then. That's risky because he could knock on the door and no one answers, but dude doesn't want to answer you. You know, what are you going to do, walk in there?
Right.
And even if he did, I'd be like, "Oh, well, I thought he was showering. You know, what do you want me to do about it?" You know? And then my roommate, even if it got to him asking my roommate, "Did you turn the shower on?" He'd be like, "No." I'd be like, "I'm pretty sure he did because it wasn't me. I was waiting for you. I wasn't about to shower." You know, I would just lie my way out. I
Right.
lied so much in the Army, but yeah,
So
I'm deviating.
so also it helps to perhaps you need to fabricate some lies.
Yeah,
to
you
get
used to,
through the Army
but
and Navy.
The Army is very dangerous, and that's where I learned a lot about lying because I always had to be on my toes. If you mess up a lie, like I lied to my commanding officer, standing at parade rest, lied straight to her face.
I feel like the best
And
soldier
it was risky.
would be the best liar in a
Who?
combat situation. If it was a battle of the wits, you'd want the best liar.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, you don't want someone that's just playing by the book. You know, so in fact, you know, I think everyone would think that too about the military. Like, oh, the more honest you are, the better off you'll be and follow the book.
not really though.
No,
no.
I don't think that's
There's
really...
two types. I know I'm deviating a lot from the story, but there were two types of people in the military. There were the kiss asses who would like snitch on you in a heartbeat, and then
Right.
there were the other people who I was friends with, the group I was in, that we would lie all the time, or like we would sneak around, we would have each other's backs,
Right.
Because we kind of
You're
viewed it as
protecting each other,
Yeah.
and you're actually in sort of a conflict.
Yeah,
as it
and
were,
a minor
you know?
conflicts, not
Right.
combat in this situation.
And
but,
you're protecting each other.
And the way I viewed it is, this guy who turned around and snitched on me for being late,
Right.
you know, when there was absolutely no one was going to find out I was 15 minutes late.
Did he get beaten with soap?
No.
at night?
No.
Oh.
I just didn't trust him after that.
Right.
But it's
I mean,
like
'cause that would
if
be
we
wrong.
both got kidnapped in a combat situation, we were both prisoners of war. That dude's not gonna protect me.
Right.
He's gonna say whatever he has to get
He's
to
bait.
save his ass.
He's bait. I'm with you. Let's
Yeah.
use him as bait.
Yeah, I don't trust those.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of that.
Okay.
Yeah, back to the story. I don't even remember where I was. Did I read anything yet? The Department of Veteran Affairs is suffering from a series of information. I read that. I'm about to lose everything that I own and become homeless, Roundtree said. I don't want to be that veteran on the street begging for change because I haven't received that or received what I was promised. And there's a lot of that's the other thing. The military takes, like, I'm kind of, it sounds bad, but I'm treated like royalty. A lot of times, like, I walk out, when people find out I was a veteran or when I was walking around in uniform, they would always thank me for my service and stuff like that, and they would always treat me very highly. And then even when you get out, there are so many services for veterans that aren't available for civilians. If you're a homeless veteran, there's an organization that has your back, guaranteed.
Right.
So that's why I kind of understand these veterans that are homeless. There is a larger issue with them. You know, there's a larger problem because as a veteran, they can be taken care of. You know, unless they're like maybe a violent veteran that every time someone tries helping them, they beat up the other people they're trying to help. You know, bring them into a homeless shelter and they start fights. Like, yeah,
Right.
those guys are gonna have problems. You know, and there are people who were in so much combat that they are violent now because they're just always on edge. You know, they always have to protect themselves. So there's always a reason. You know.
Right.
With the GI Bill housing stipend, Roundtree was kicked out of his apartment and is now living on his sister's couch, miles from school, where he feels like a burden on his family. The new living situation required him to move all his belongings into a storage container, which he can no longer afford. Now all of his possessions are in danger of being auctioned off by the storage facility. Yeah, that does make sense, though. You know, I mean, no one's really going to help you store your stuff.
Right.
You know, they'll give you a place to stay, but he already has a place to stay because he has family. Yeah, it's a larger issue. Roundtree said that because of his extremely strained finances, he is forced to choose between spending money on public transportation to get to his marketing classes or buying food, not both. At the end of the day, the veteran said he often makes himself go to sleep hungry. Someone should tell him about welfare and food cards. You know,
Right.
Because
And
that
also, I think, you know, go ahead.
that exists for civilians and veterans is just the same. You know. What were you
Right.
saying?
I was just going to say that sometimes I feel like we divert ourselves subconsciously from something we're doing just because we need to take a step back and look at what we're doing. Perhaps we need to go closer to what we feel like we should be doing than what we think we should be doing. And sometimes I think we can like stop ourselves to give ourselves that decision. And perhaps that's the case with this guy, maybe. And just look at your situation, and perhaps you could teach people something you already know, which could be even more valuable than what you're trying to learn.
It's confusing, said Roundtree. Who is there for us? Who is representing us? Who is helping us? Who is doing what they need to do to better the situation for veterans? Yeah, this glitch does really suck, and it is weird. Like, why is it taking so long to fix? Like I was saying before, you get the housing allowance when you use your GI Bill. It's almost like you get that housing allowance from the same as if you were married. It's
Okay.
It's called BAH, Basic Allowance for Housing, and you get the same amount as a sergeant that is still enlisted in the Army. So
wow.
he's talking about not getting that. So he's missing out on like $1,000 to like $2,000 a month that is supposed to help him have housing and living expenses.
Okay.
And they are going to owe him in back payment, guaranteed. He is going to get a very large check, but for now, he's living in hell, and I understand that. There are many veterans like Roundtree across the country who are still waiting for VA to catch up with the backlog created after President Donald Trump signed the Forever GI Bill in 2017. The landmark piece of legislation greatly expanded benefits for veterans and their families, but did not upgrade the VA's technical capabilities to account for those changes. Well, this is, he upgraded the GI Bill, which is amazing. They're probably getting more than I was getting, 3 years ago. But yeah, they probably should upgrade their technical capabilities. While it is unclear how many GI Bill recipients were impacted by the delays, as of November 8th, more than 82,000 are still waiting for their housing payments, with only weeks remaining in the school semester, according to the VA. Hundreds of thousands are believed to have been affected. Yeah, that is insane. That is a huge problem, and I don't understand why they're not fixing it. The VA does suck. The VA is like a hospital organization. It's like I get free healthcare from the VA, so it's like, why would I pay for insurance now?
Right.
But it is a slow, congested process, and it doesn't seem too horrible. When I was living in Chicago, it was actually like real easy, but it would take like a month to get an appointment, and that sucks. Unless it was an emergency, they have an emergency room, and I would just walk in like, hey, I'm super sick, I need antibiotics or something.
Right.
And they were great at doing that, real quick. You didn't have to wait in there forever, stuff like that. But it does. You want to get new eyeglasses, you're going to have to wait a month or two. And that sucks. The VA is kind of like, it's a bureaucratic organization. It's like they got paperwork on everything you do. So it's just super congested. And it would be awesome if they fixed that. If they made it organized, like super organized, I would really appreciate that.
So just to recap, let's say I'm a new recruit. I'm just about to go into basic training.
Yep.
I've already signed up. They've tested me. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
What's just some short, wise advice you could give me, that hypothetical person?
Like when I was in basic training, I thought it was kind of funny that how weak everyone was, because like not to like brag and say I'm super strong, but mentally weak. Like the whole point of basic training is to break your mind,
Right.
break you down and build you back up as a team with everyone else. And that never really happened for me because I was always thinking above everything else. Like when they were making me crawl around in it was basically like a sand baseball field kind of thing. It wasn't really a baseball field, but it was just like a sand pit. And we got in trouble, so they made us crawl around in the wet sand in the rain, pouring rain, and it was January or February, and everyone was crying, like men were crying, and they made us do it for like 3 or 4 hours.
Okay.
And I wasn't gonna die from it, so I was like, yeah, keep bringing it on. Like you can't break me. Shit's not gonna get to me.
Right.
Like this is my job right now. Like I don't care.
I know this may be going over. It almost sounds kind of fun.
Dude, it was awesome. It was fun. It was a great challenge. But for me, I enjoyed seeing how much more willpower I had than everyone else, or at least making myself have that much more willpower than everyone else. I saw so many grown men cry. It was insane.
Wow.
Yeah, so many grown men quit, and you can quit basic training. You can just like have a mental breakdown or claim to have a mental breakdown, and they'll be like, all right, you're all right to go.
And I think on that topic of giving up or breaking down, when you're going through extensive like physical training, you're releasing fat from inside of your system.
Dude, I was in such good shape.
When that
It's insane.
when the average person who's not in good shape is releasing that fat, there's estrogenic compounds in a lot of the meat and stuff that we've eaten. So when that estrogen gets broken down, our brain can disperse it in ways that might make you super emotional, and it's just a chemical that was in the food you were eating. You know, that's one thing to keep in mind is self-control of the mind is a big part of it, right? Is what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. It's all about in your mind. They can't kill you. They can't even punch you. They can't even push you onto the ground. You know,
Right.
they can only tell you to lay down on the ground and then tell you to do push-ups or to
Right.
do sit-ups for 6 hours straight. And yeah, that sucks. But they can't make you do something you can't do anymore. Like once you reach muscle failure, there's nothing you can do, and they know that. They can't punish. They can't make you do a sit-up if you can't do a sit-up anymore.
Right.
You know?
I think they call that
Muscle failure.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Muscle fatigue.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, that was. You have anything else you want to say? Another thing I want to say, I'm sorry, is I ate more calories every day than I ever have in my entire life, and I actually was losing weight. But it was like because I was building muscle,
And I think that's really
and it
common
was insane.
too, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
you'll eat a ton
I was eating
more.
so much
Right.
food, and it was, and I was burning calories. Yeah, it was awesome. I loved it. I wouldn't want to do it again. Well, I would do a fake basic training again. That might be fun, but I don't want to join the military again because it's like you always have a sword, or at least for me, because I'm a liar and cheater. I always had a sword hanging over my head that I could get in trouble. Like lying to your commanding officer can put you in prison.
Right.
And I did that one day, and I went home, and I was freaking out, like, oh man, what if she catches me? What if she knows I lied? So I formulated this huge plan and ended up weaseling my way out of it. Yeah, I did that so many times. I have so
Right.
many stories. Maybe I should tell some of them.
Right.
But,
People may need to know that.
Yeah, so that's it for the article. If you enjoyed it, let us know by leaving a thumbs up or leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Check out our Patreon link in the description if you want to help us, and thanks for watching.